Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for All About Android is provided by CacheFly at CACHEFLY.com.
This episode of All About Android is brought to you by Gazelle, the fast and simple way to sell your used gadgets. Find out what your used HTC and other Android devices are worth at Gazelle.com. And by SmartThings, the easiest way to create a smart home. SmartThings lets you control your home using your smartphone from anywhere. For 10% off any home security or solution kit, visit smartthings.com/twit and use the code TWIT10. Hello, and welcome to another episode of All About Android, episode 177, recorded on Tuesday, September 2nd, 2014. We're your weekly source for the latest news, hardware, and apps for the Android faithful. I'm Jason Howell.
I'm Ron Richards.
I'm Gina Trapani.
Hello, Triumvirate. Is that what we are? Are we a Triumvirate?
We're a Triumvirate. I'll go with Triumvirate.
Yeah.
I'll allow it.
All right, excellent. I'm happy that that ball is firmly in play.
There you go.
Cool. It's good to have you guys back. You had a good long Labor Day weekend here in the States.
Back to school.
Yeah.
Yep.
Kind of like,
Yeah.
yep, we're back.
More white.
You know, the bummer of a holiday like this is that it turns your Tuesday into a Monday.
Which is like the worst. It's so bad I actually worked a couple hours yesterday on Monday because I was like, I just don't want to deal with it on Tuesday. So let me take the time and get out of the way. I still have time to make ribs, so it's okay. So it all worked out.
Excellent. I'm happy you fit the ribs in.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, that's good.
Joining us today, I'm super happy to welcome to this show. Had Francisco Franco on my other show, Android App Arena, a few weeks ago, and now we have you on All About Android. Francisco Franco, of course, is the developer of the Franco kernel and a bunch of other apps on the Play Store. How's it going, Franco?
Hello. Thanks for inviting me back.
Absolutely. It's good to have you on. You bring a very interesting and different perspective on developing for Android because your work is largely, well, obviously based around the kernel, which is a different beast than, I think, just developing apps. And yeah, it's just good to have your perspective on today's show. We appreciate it. We have a lot to talk about. Very unique stories, I think, this week. One that I never thought I'd read the headline for, Microsoft's Cyanogen mod ambitions. We have Nokia's Here maps coming to Android. A barrage of hardware announcements. This is like just device announcement week. So, and we're at the beginning of it. We're before the announcements right now. So there isn't a whole lot that we can talk about with authority. We can speculate.
The calm before the storm, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's going to be very noisy.
Yeah.
Oh,
Next week's show is going to be a crazy show. And Gina, you have a love for talking about specs and hardware specs. So I imagine next week will be your favorite show of the year.
Oh, it's going to be awesome. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Although I'm sure we're going to find some pretty cool hardware out of this whole bunch to talk about. So there will be a lot of
There'll be watches. There'll be good stuff to talk about. I'm excited.
Agreed.
I like announcement season.
Yeah, it's kind of exciting. We'll see what we have in store for us. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But first, let's jump into the news.
Brought to you via Carrier Pigeon, it's Android News.
Oh, those carrier pigeons that sound like Bryan. That was the carrier pigeon talking, right?
Trying a bit too hard.
Yeah.
Wow.
I appreciate his effort.
Emails,
Ron. Yes, we did get some more angry emails.
Did we?
Oh, yes, we did.
About what? I've been good to Bryan recently.
Somebody felt a little uncomfortable.
I love Bryan. Bryan's one of my favorite people.
I'll work on it, Ron.
All right, there you go.
Now it's awkward. Okay. Okay, so first up, let's talk about kind of the strange kind of story that I was teasing at the top of the show. What do Cyanogen mod, undoubtedly Android's most well-known Android mod, and Microsoft have in common? They're actually supposedly in talks. The Information reported this over the weekend, I believe. The two companies are in talks. Microsoft isn't the only company that's interested in some sort of relationship with Cyanogen Inc. Interest coming from Amazon, Samsung, Yahoo. Suddenly, Cyanogen mod in the crosshairs.
The bell of the ball.
I know,
apparently.
right?
Yeah.
Now, what do we know about Cyanogen Inc. right now, since they've become, a for-profit company and not just an open source, developer of ROMs for a number of devices? Is that third-party integration is definitely very important to them and to their business plan. So that's kind of, I imagine, part of what we're going to see here. What do we think? We'll just kind of throw this up in the air because this could really go a million different ways when you're talking about Microsoft and CyanogenMod. Franco, let's start with you as our guest today. What do you think could come out of this kind of relationship? Is this about bringing Microsoft to Android or bringing CyanogenMod to Microsoft?
I have nothing to say about it, to be honest. So just jump the ball to someone.
Not a fan of either, or?
No, I'm a fan of both.
Yeah.
But let's see what others have to say about it.
All right. We'll see where we can go with this.
I mean, it almost screams like because as you mentioned, Cyanogen is now a company that's for profit. So clearly they hired someone in business development. And now I do business development, so I shouldn't be as mean about this. But clearly, okay, now let's go make deals. And you talk to Microsoft, and I feel like I don't know. I feel bad. I don't want to bash Microsoft. It's so easy to bash Microsoft, but I feel
and people have been bashing Microsoft for a long time.
Yeah,
now, so
I know, and I feel like that's tired. Sure. You know what I mean? Yeah, that not that original. But let's just say, in my professional experience, I've seen situations where there have been good ideas and good stuff, and then the need to go make deals come up, and then somehow Microsoft gets involved, and then bad decisions follow. So, not that this is the case, not that that would happen, but yeah, I don't know. I'm not a big Cyanogen fan, but I would be nervous if I was.
What do you think, Gina?
But what are we talking about here? Are we talking about a Microsoft-flavored Cyanogen where Bing is the default search engine and there's a default set of like Microsoft apps on it, or Amazon or Yahoo? I'm curious. I mean, Amazon's got Fire OS. I could kind of see Yahoo being interested in something like that. But is that what we're talking about? We're not talking about Microsoft purchasing Cyanogen Inc., right?
I think we don't
we're talking
really
about a deal.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, we don't really know exactly what the extent of this is. But when Microsoft and CyanogenMod enter the same conversation, it makes things very interesting, especially considering Microsoft, very recently was kind of in the Android game with the whole Nokia experiment.
They dipped their toe.
Then kind of out of it.
And then back in it.
So then
and then out of it.
Back in it at this point. Is it a matter of CyanogenMod working on the Windows side of things? That seems kind of strange to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you might be right though, Gina. Maybe it's more of like bringing Microsoft services, Bing services, to something like CyanogenMod. I have to imagine that would upset a lot of CyanogenMod
could you imagine?
devotees.
Well, do you think if it was just a flavor, if it was a one particular flavor of Cyanogen, I don't know.
As long as it was a flavor and not a
replacement. What if Cyanogen ships with a Bing search box widget?
Right, as a widget.
There's nothing to say that it wouldn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, if that happens, they won't be able to pass the CTS from Google. So
yeah,
fair point.
No more Play Store.
Yeah, it would have to be. Could it be done in tandem with the Google search, or it just couldn't be on by default at all?
Is there a Bing?
If I remember correctly, to pass the CTS, you have to have the widget on the home screen.
Right.
So if it isn't there, they won't be able to pass the CTS.
Right.
So that's why Samsung's, HTC's, even other devices that change all the framework, they still have the widget there. So that's the reason.
Right. Nope. That
So
makes sense.
I'm not sure that's what they want. I don't know. I'm just guessing.
Yeah, we're all guessing.
Well, there's a Bing search app in the Play Store,
right.
So I mean, yeah, I mean, I guess I don't know, it's interesting.
And if the folks at Cyanogen Inc. are listening to this, they're smirking and laughing to themselves right now, going, "Oh boy."
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure. But then also, as Gina mentioned,
isn't it fun to watch people try and figure?
To speculate and all this other stuff. Yeah, I mean, like if Microsoft wanted to create phones and that ran Cyanogen on it, that'd be pretty cool, right? I mean, that'd be interesting. I mean, I guess what you want to look for is is the growth of Cyanogen worth whatever money they would get from whatever partner to do whatever the partner wants to do with Cyanogen, not knowing what any of that stuff is. If Microsoft comes in and says, we're going to give you a huge influx of cash to make, you know, to make Bing preferred or whatever within Google standards or whatnot, you know, like, you know, is that worth it, and then, or is that selling out to the community?
Right.
I'm not sure Microsoft would want like a special Android version with them, because if Microsoft did that, they would kind of saying that their ecosystem sucks and their ecosystem is failing. So I would probably raise a few eyebrows on their investors and all the other people. So I'm not sure that that's the way to go.
Yeah.
All we know is that we don't know nothing.
Exactly.
But it's weird. It's weird. You have to admit it's a weird combination.
Yep. Now imagine
it is. It feels like this cutting edge company getting, you know, like pairing up with like this, you know, a company that's made mobile products that are just kind of really falling behind. So it is a very, it feels like an unnatural marriage.
Yeah. But now watch it all, you know, a month or two or however long until we finally, you know, figure out what the fruits of this actually are, and watch it be the most boring like relationship ever. Like, okay,
pretty much
whatever.
Correct.
Which very well could be the case. So there.
But what
we
if
go.
Samsung gets involved? There you go. What if Samsung switches their whole thing to be Cyanogen mod based?
Oh, that would never happen. That's a hilarious thought. I suppose it could, but no, that. No, I'm putting my foot on the ground right now.
You're gonna say no. You're gonna go. You're gonna go no.
That's not.
All right. You see Tizen first before you see Cyanogen mods.
Something tells me
absolutely not.
Yeah. All right, Gina.
It'll be Cyanogen as a runtime for Tizen with TouchWiz on top of all that. It'll be awesome, and it'll all only work with Galaxy devices. So there you go.
And it'll run Windows, not Windows for mobile. It'll be run actual like Windows.
Windows XP. I mean, let's
so I'm happy we figured this one out. Yeah, there we go. Yes, run Vista. All right, Gina. What else do we have?
In further, maybe crazy, interesting combinations, Android developer extraordinaire Kosh recently unveiled the ADB shell for Chrome, which allows Chromebook users to execute commands using a browser to a connected Nexus 5. So the Android ADB is the Android debug bridge. This is special software that lets you run commands on your phone when it's connected to your computer, and typically it requires you to install client software on your Windows machine or your Mac. What Kosh released is a version of the ADB for Chrome, which means basically that developers and tinkerers don't need to be locked down to a Mac or PC. They can just do this through Chrome OS. This app currently only works with the Nexus 5. Kosh announced it on his Google Plus page. He said he's going to post it to the Chrome store soon, and he's going to whitelist more devices soon. And then he has some interesting plans for it. And this was actually a fork of another project, another ADB for Chrome project. But this is just Kosh doing what he does best, which is just like riffing on, you know, these like really interesting projects for tinkerers in the Android verse. And the end result means that you'll be able to connect your phone to any device, hopefully any device. Right now it's just Chrome OS running Chrome, and access it and run commands and modify it. So yeah, Android ADB and Chromebook. Are you, Jason? I know you probably use ADB more than anyone. I really only use ADB in development. I don't do a whole lot of modification on my devices. You probably do this more than anyone. Or is this like exciting to you? Or
I'm excited by this because more and more I use my Chromebook Pixel, and to be honest, for me, and this just and by the way, I don't use ADB nearly as much as I have to imagine Franco does. But you probably use this on a minute by minute basis, just testing your
second by second.
Second by second. There we go. For me personally, like, I wish I had a PC at home, only because it makes the process just a little bit easier. And I use it frequently enough that I use it, but infrequently enough that it's complicated for me to remember sometimes the steps that I need to do to make it work every time. So using it on Chrome OS, I would actually be very happy with that, because that's just the machine that I use more than anything right now to do the random stuff that I do. Franco, do you have Chrome OS, and is this appealing to you?
I don't have one for myself. I bought one for my mother, but she uses it and she's very happy with it.
So she could ADB, from hers, right?
I hope she doesn't,
because you're going to be troubleshooting.
Is she not doing a lot of phone mods, or?
No. Oh, hopefully no. But yeah, this is very exciting because imagine that I want to buy some cheap Chromebook for me, and I want to open a SSH client and connect to my server from my Chromebook. I can compile a kernel on my server, and I can just use the ADB connection to my phone to actually flash the kernel through the ADB. That's cool. That's just an example, and that's pretty awesome.
That is pretty cool.
I cannot wait until he finishes it, and we can all visit it all our devices. Yeah, but it's pretty exciting.
I'm actually kind of surprised that Google hasn't done this themselves. Regularly at Google I/O, of course, is one of the big things is the giveaways, right? You go to Google I/O and they give you things. They don't necessarily give you things just as a gift. Usually they give you things because they want to spur development around certain things, and their devices help developers create and manicure their apps or whatever the case may be. And for a while now, for the last 2 years, since I've had the Pixel from I/O, I've wondered why they haven't figured this out. Because a lot of developers, if Google wants everybody to be all in on Google stuff, the Chrome OS is the computer as far as they're concerned, not the Mac, not the PC. Right. That benefits Google the most. Chrome OS is it. So why not give developers that capability through their hardware, and give the people that are truly all in on Google, an all-in-one kind of solution through Google to do that. So
we saw some Android to Chrome OS stuff at I/O, right?
Yeah, there's more of this
notifications
year,
and when your battery's low on your device, on your phone, you would get a notification of Chrome OS. But it wasn't this. We didn't get ADB. But they must be working on it, because I feel like this is code that someone else maybe pulled from AOSP and modified and made work, and then Koch forked that. You know what I mean? I don't think Google. I think Google actually did have a part in this.
Mm-hmm. Well, I feel like the Chrome OS development has been it's probably generous to call it slow, in terms of the Android to Chrome OS. I mean, I think the stuff that we saw at I/O was surprising, right? Like we weren't expecting to see that level of kind of integration. But even then, when you step back and look at it, it's very, very surface level. So you got to imagine that this is a case of Google working on it. Whether, Gina, you're right, if somebody found a bit of code and made it work, or just people getting impatient and doing it themselves, which is the greatness of the platform, right?
Sure.
But I would imagine that this will get an official kind of approach to it at some point,
Yeah.
I'm not so sure about that. Well, if you consider that most of the Chromebooks are probably sold to schools and people like my mother or older people, why would they use their resources to build something for developers that wouldn't be used at all? I don't know. If I was a product manager at Google, I wouldn't push it, because they don't care. I think they don't care.
But would their ambition be for Chrome OS to someday, even if it's not now, someday be so appealing to people like developers, or not just people in the educational space or whatever? I'm sure at some point they want it to be appealing in all of those places.
But why? Because you have like 0.00001% are developers.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think they have Android. It's a very developer-friendly environment. Why would they do it for Chrome OS? I don't know. I would like to, but I'm not seeing it happen soon.
Sure. Sure.
And I think that's more attributed to the confusion that we constantly have over how important is Chrome OS and the Chromebook line and Chrome boxes and all those various products and Android. Like, it always seems like you've got these two things that are running, and at some point, are they going to merge them? Are they going to do something with it?
Or is Google going to anoint one
the official?
And the other, the also.
Yeah.
I think they'll probably just have a way to easily consume their Play Store services from the Chrome OS to actually make money, than actually pushing it for a developer-friendly environment.
Right.
Because they're a company, they need to make money. So their effort on the I/O showing those 2 applications running on Chrome OS. That's not trivial. You know that they need to port Dalvik, the runtime, to the Chrome OS. If the Chrome OS in that machine is ARM, if it's a normal Intel processor, it's another architecture, so they have to port it to that architecture. And I don't know. I think it's going to be fun, but probably not as straightforward as we think it will be.
Sure. Makes sense.
Just my opinion.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
No, I think it makes sense.
Yeah.
And finally,
not
so straightforward news.
I feel like we need one of those. It's been X number of days since a marketing blunder. Luckily it's not OnePlus in the hot seat this time.
That's true.
Rather, it's our friends over at Motorola who one of the ad wizards at Motorola thought it'd be a good idea to hold a contest on the messaging platform Yo.
Did we ever feature Yo on the show? I mean, we've talked about it kind of on the perimeter. But
I think we're better people for it.
Yeah. So if you're not familiar with the wonderful world of Yo, it is an app that allows you to install it, connect with friends, and then send them a very simple message that says Yo. So
yeah, that's about what it is.
That's your baseline. So Motorola decides that they're going to give away 20 Moto 360s, which, hey, sign me up. I want a Moto 360 via the Yo messaging platform. And by doing so, they encourage users to add Motorola as a friend on Yo and then send Motorola a Yo. And then they would pick 20 winners and give away the watches, the standard kind of giveaway. Do something. You're giving them your information in some way or whatever. And something went wrong because all of a sudden everyone got a response saying, you want a Moto 360.
You want a Moto 360.
Not just the 20 people that was thought to be identified. And then what we had was a whole bunch of finger pointing going on. What I find even more fascinating is that, so both Yo and Motorola announced this and kind of said this whole kind of thing, but the moment it went wrong, Yo was just like, whoa, that's not us. Yo backed away and blamed Motorola. They said in a statement to The Verge, actually, they said, Yo is a communication platform. Anyone can use Yo to send out notifications with links and use it the way they see fit. We're not running campaigns for businesses, but we welcome everyone, including businesses, to use our platforms and leverage it to communicate with friends, family, customers, or whomever. So it's one of those weird things where it's like, I wonder if Motorola and Yo team up on it and then it just failed, or someone screwed up on the Motorola side. Who knows? Motorola apologized, and then they reran the contest the next day and gave away 20 watches, and then everyone tried to forget about it. But it's interesting because it looks like Yo was trying to have its cake and eat it too. They're like, hey, we got a big brand who's using our platform. That's going to be users, that's attention, all stuff like that. And then it blows up in their face, and you got to wonder what kind of tools Motorola had on the Yo side.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because clearly something was automated because people were getting an immediate response back saying you won.
Something wacky happened. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people installed Yo for the very first time because of this, and that's obviously that's a big reason for a company wanting, or an app developer to want to take part in a contest like this. But when this happens, does the saying any publicity is good publicity? Does that that ring true in this regard? Does a developer in this situation, are they just happy with the fact that they got all of this?
Well, I mean, because
this attention,
you've got angry users, and so you've got people like, does the user want to blame Yo, or do they want to blame Motorola in this particular case? And also, apparently, a lot of Motorola's language around the giveaway was very was not very clear. Made it seem like it was first come, first serve, so the first 20 people versus randomly giving it away and things like that. It sounds like Motorola's promotions department probably needs the most work on this. But
yeah, definitely. When they said the language was unclear, did they mean like, "Hey, you want to watch"? Was unclear?
It was.
I know,
Exactly.
Like they were saying that sounded like I don't know. In these situations, I always just want to hear a straight up, "We messed up and we're really sorry."
Yep.
But they're like, "Yeah, we're just gonna give out 20 more tomorrow. We're gonna try this again. Take 2." I guess that's fine.
What is it too unreasonable to say, hey, anybody who got that, they should just get a watch? Isn't that what we would do? I remember being younger And there's this thing called false advertising. It's like if it's printed in the paper, you can go in and they've got to honor it. Of course, that never happens anymore. If it's printed in the paper and it's wrong, companies more or less will be like, "Yeah, tough luck. We messed up, but we're not giving you that for that."
Well, it's like when I worked at a big hotel chain and on the website, and I guess it's because money exchange hands, or whatever. But when there was a mistaken rate published, we had to honor it. So like I remember,
I guess different.
I guess there are different levels of
entities
rules.
Have different,
like I remember we were testing stuff, and an engineer put a $9 a night rate at one of the Walt Disney World hotels in production, and people started booking it, and so then we had to honor $9 a night.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so I don't know what those rules are.
I've heard just hearing that. Oh.
Yeah, that was not a fun. That was not a fun day to be at work.
Yeah, somebody got in big trouble for that one.
Yeah,
I have to imagine.
Yeah, clearly.
As I'm sure somebody got in trouble in this regard too. But it hasn't made people not want a Moto 360. That's for sure. People
I didn't even know about it until I saw it until a day or so after this happened. So I was like, I see Yo in my eyes just glaze over. But
I've yo'd a couple of times. Yeah, but that was it.
Well, you want to keep that to yourself.
I was just like, well, hey, it's my job to know all about Yo. It's what I do for a living. Yeah. And then I was like, oh, hey, I sent it. Oh, hey, I got one. There we go. And now I know all about Yo. Yep. We got an email from Paul who says, "Dear AAA crew, on a recent trip to Vietnam, I was a victim of a pickpocket. Oh, no. I know that this was a moment of forgetfulness on my part, but fortunately, all they got was my phone. Now, this may sound strange, but I was fine and still had my money and passport, so I consider myself quite lucky in this regard. My problem has to do with the phone itself, seeing as it was stolen, and I never installed software to remotely wipe it. Coming from an iPhone, I assumed it would be pre-installed. I now know better. After my phone was stolen, my Google account was naturally associated with it, and now I get a steady stream of pictures and updates from a young Vietnamese woman. I've Googled how to remove the phone from the account to little avail. I was hoping that you or the AAA audience could help me solve this rather annoying problem."
Well, hang on. What are these photos? What is this Vietnamese woman like?
I don't want to know.
Before we wipe the device, what is she posting?
Photos on the internet. Hot button topic right now. Don't know if you've heard.
Yeah. I think the photos are from the woman, not of the woman. Let's not. Yeah.
But even then, maybe she's taking some nice photos.
Don't want to know. Gina, what were you gonna say?
Wouldn't you change your password? I mean, but Paul, who wrote in, so if you change your Google password, someone couldn't upload pictures or updates, right? Because at that point, the phone would say you're not authenticated anymore, please re-enter your password, right? Would that be the first thing that Paul could do?
Yeah, if you change it, then that's immediately, the moment you change your password, the next time the phone tries to sync, it says, hey, please enter your password. And
and it's not going to sync any more data. The problem there, of course, is that the data that was already downloaded is still there. So if it's a matter of protecting your phone and the data that was on the phone, remote wiping it or whatever. See, here's the problem. Android Device Manager is how we would recommend to do this. The problem is it requires an install and permission on the device before it's stolen. So you're screwed there. Play Store. If you go to an app called Android Lost, and I know that there are others, but when I was searching around, this is what I found. Play Store, on your browser, go to Android Lost, install to your device. And I don't know, actually, now that I'm talking about this, I don't know if this needs to happen before you change your password or after. Because if you change your password and then do this, is it still going to have a problem authenticating, and then you're again screwed? So maybe the first thing you want to do is go to the Play Store on your browser, install Android Lost to the device, and then you can send to your phone from a different device an SMS message that says Android Lost, register. That's Android Lost, one word, and then register, one word. That is going to remotely activate the app on your device when it receives this. And then AndroidLost.com on your browser, you sign in, and with Google Sign In, so it links up to your account, and then you can wipe your data remotely. I saw a few different sites that pointed to this walkthrough. Of course, I haven't done this on my own, and none of this will work if that phone is powered off or without any data at that point. So keep that in mind. But
it makes you wonder why Android Device Manager isn't coming pre-installed.
Well, it's a good question. Yeah, I mean, what do we think? Franco, have you had any reason to use the Android Device Manager, and do you think Is there room for improvement, do you think?
Yeah, maybe they should add a requirement to pass the CTS to have that app installed.
It seems like a kind of a no-brainer to come pre-installed on Android devices at this point. But
well, probably they haven't finished all the functionality, so they didn't add that to the certification process. But yeah, it's pretty important. They should have done it before. But I didn't have any problems with. I never lost anything or been stolen, so I don't know. I'm not speaking from experience, but well, crap happens.
Yeah, it's true.
That should be installed for sure.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah. So anyway, so check out Android Lost. It's one way to do this. Without it's kind of too bad that you couldn't do this using Android Device Manager, even if it's not installed. But I guess it has to get certain permissions in order to do this. So that makes me wonder how Android Lost is able to get these permissions. Like, why can't I remote install Android Device Manager on this, but I can,
right?
And get it working, but anyways. So anyways, I hope that helps at least, Paul. And then definitely change that password and change your other passwords, because they're kind of all syncing onto your phone.
I love the idea of a young Vietnamese woman just walking around Vietnam, using his phone as if it was hers.
Well, yeah, so
that's what I
someone
think
stealing the phone and then being like, I'm not going to do anything with this except just start using it.
I'm just going to use it. It's a free phone,
Free phone. Yeah, great.
Given the grand scheme of things,
I'm not going to factory reset. I'm just going to use it.
Given the grand scheme of things of what could have happened, sounds like that's not too bad. It's it doesn't sound like he's concerned about her getting access to the data. I bet you she can't even figure out how to access the data.
Maybe not.
Yeah.
It's very, very possible.
I'd like to see the stream of pictures.
I wouldn't want to take the risk. Take the chance.
Send in the link to the pictures, Paul.
To Ron. Okay, let's see here. Let's take a break and thank our sponsor, one of our sponsors of today's episode, and that would be Gazelle. I mean, it's the perfect time to have Gazelle on the show. Can you believe it? There's just a ton of new hardware. We're about to talk about all of this new hardware that's going to be announced this week. And if you're thinking about getting any of these new Android devices, when you have an old device hanging around, that's what Gazelle is all about. If you want to get any of the new devices from Motorola, they have a new, follow-up to the X, the Moto X, and you have the old Moto X. You could go to Gazelle, do a search through their system, and find what you can get, what you can lock in that price right now. And actually, now is probably a great time to do that, because we're ahead of all the announcements. Once the announcements happen and those old devices are the current devices become old devices, suddenly their value starts to plummet. Gazelle wants to buy your used devices, HTC, Android devices of all kinds. You can lock in your price today, send it to Gazelle, and when you get your new one, just send it once you receive your new one. In fact, you have 30 days to do it. Gazelle's offer is good for 30 days. That means you lock in the price now and then send it in within those 30 days. It's not going to go down. It's GAZELLE.com. The process is fast. It's simple. You tell Gazelle the condition once you find the device, and they'll give you a price right away and let you know exactly how much they're willing to give you. They'll even buy broken phones and tablets. You get a risk-free offer for your gadgets and free shipping, and then you'll get paid fast by check, PayPal, or even a 5% extra payment with an Amazon gift card. So you get 5%. Get an extra 5% with that Amazon gift card. Pretty awesome way to go. Go to Gazelle.com now to get an offer for your used Android or Apple products. Apple even has an announcement coming up here this week. It's a crazy week. You get paid in cash, like I said. Payment is fast, usually within a few days of the item being received, and it's risk-free. Those offers, like I said, are good for 30 days. That gives you time to transfer your data, set up your new device. Gazelle will actually also wipe your device for free if you don't have the time or you haven't wiped it, you forget to. They're going to do it for you, and they're going to make that device as good as new and keep your data safe. It's trustworthy, and Gazelle has actually paid more than nearly $170 million to over 1 million customers. That's because it's easy. Free shipping qualifies for a free box. Most of those items do, and it's a fast process with no listing hassles. So I would check it out right now. What's your device worth? Your Android device, your iOS device, whatever you have. Take a minute, go to Gazelle.com to find out. We thank Gazelle for their support of All About Android. Thank Thank you, guys. All right. Speaking of hardware, let's get into it. Hardware section. Oh, fine. Apps.
We're just going to skip hardware and go right into apps. Go,
Well,
go,
there's
go.
nothing. There's no hardware on this episode.
Arena.
Thank you, Bryan, for keeping us under our time. Appreciate
That's
it.
right, speeding things up here.
This is how you keep us on a roll.
Wow, the subtle suggestion that we should speed things up.
So, Gina, what is up with OnePlus? I'm going to be heading back to my OnePlus One here pretty soon, and what's going on with that?
I'm pretty excited about this news because everybody and their brother, including my brother, has been asking me for a OnePlus invite. I don't have any invites, but it turns out that you might not need an invite to get a OnePlus. OnePlus staffer did a Reddit AMA this week or last week and said that OnePlus One might finally have a pre-order system. No invitation required, pre-order system. And that isn't a contest that requires you to post selfies or smash your phone. It might just be a straight pre-order system that might go live in October. So yeah, you might be able to pre-order a OnePlus One. I'm a little dubious about this. I mean, it's September. Today is September. It makes me a little nervous that they're like, we might have this by October because the pre-order system does seem like a big thing.
Yeah.
And it does seem like you'd have a harder schedule than that. It also seems like for the holidays, this is, given that it's September 2nd, the question of whether or not you have this should be a binary yes or no at this point. But they're like, yeah, we might have this. So who knows? They might do it. It doesn't mean that the phones are going to ship. This is a pre-order system. So It doesn't mean the phone's going to ship when you actually order it. It doesn't even necessarily mean the phone's going to ship by the holidays, which is also kind of a bummer. I mean, who knows? Maybe it will. I would love it if OnePlus One said, hey, order your phone, you'll have it by the holidays. But takeaway, invite system is getting killed, which is great for all of us, I think. So, Jason, you're going back to your OnePlus One even after using the Mi 4.
The Mi 4,
right?
the Xiaomi. I almost said Huawei.
The Xiaomi.
Huawei.
Mi 4. Lots of fun names. So I reviewed the Mi 4 on Before You Buy today. Before You Pie. It's a new show where we
I totally would watch that show. I'd watch the hell out of that
It's
show.
actually Before You Pie. So
Before you
eat
pie,
dinner on the show.
Hey, that's fine by me,
not
too.
3.14.
Right, exactly. So twit.tv/BYB, I reviewed this on today's episode. I'd say the takeaway on the Mi 4 is it's a fantastic device, and there are a lot of really great pluses about it. The design, the screen, actually parts of the software experience, I have to say, are pretty darn cool as well.
The selfie gender age recognition.
That was a little weird, yes. When you do a selfie, yes, exactly as shown last week. The camera, big downside.
Really?
Man, I took a lot of pictures this weekend while I was camping in bright light. Great picture situations, and just lots of blurriness and all that kind of stuff. But ultimately, it's just the fact that it's a Chinese phone, and when you're importing it into the States, it comes with a little bit, some drawbacks on the software side, some things that you're used to working well on your normal Android device. There's some pictures. Some of them look okay, but I had to really comb through. That's the problem. I took tons of pictures, and I had to comb through to find ones that look reasonable. Kind of out of focus and everything. So yeah, there's just weird little things here and there that over the course of the week, I'm kind of like, as much as I love parts of this phone, I think I'm probably going back to the OnePlus One. So the OnePlus One wins again.
Wow.
For now, until the next goodness, whatever that may be.
Validated.
There you go, Gina.
Bad contest and all. Validated.
Yeah. Franco, I'm curious. Are you pure Nexus right now? Are you running the Nexus 5? Or I know that the kernel supports OnePlus One. Do you have one of those devices that you test against?
Yeah, I have one here.
Is that the phone that you say is kind of your daily driver at this point, or what are you using right now?
Yeah, I've been using the OnePlus One since I've got it because the battery life is so good. Yeah. I don't have to think about plugging it every night, or I can just use it whatever I want anytime in the day and just never bother thinking about the battery. That's the only thing that I care at this point, because Nexus 5 unfortunately has a very poor battery. I don't know if it's the LG technology or whatever, but it gets warm really quick and then all hell breaks loose. So yeah, it's an awesome device. I love it. The camera is awesome as well. So it's almost stock Android. So I cannot complain.
It's true. Now, is the wind going to be taken out of the sails by the time this hits market in a, oh, I want one, I can easily buy it sort of way?
This is what happens. I mean, when it's not a desired, sought after, trying to get an invite, when it's just available, you know.
Well, and I mean, by the time, you know, even let's just say pre-orders October, ships November. Let's just say that's the case. Like, when did we start hearing about the invite system for OnePlus One? Was this like the beginning of the summer? A little bit earlier than that, May-ish, I want to say. So exactly. May, June, July, August, September, October. That's almost a solid half year later.
Yeah.
I mean,
take in consideration that they are a startup.
Yeah.
They'll probably are tight on money, I guess. If they haven't lifted the invite system, it's because they are shipping all the phones that they create at this point.
Yeah.
So people like to bash and say bad things about the company and about the whole system, but they probably don't know everything that's been happening since the beginning. And I'm sure they would have just had pre-orders or normal orders if they could. So it's been a huge success, I think, so far, at least for what I've seen. So I'm sure they're doing everything they can to have it shipped as soon as possible, hopefully by the holidays, because I'm sure everyone wants to buy the phone. But yeah, just take it in consideration to everyone that's listening to this show, that it's not easy. It's not as easy as it sounds. Because all those Samsung and HTCs, and they have all the money, all the factories, everything to make everything whenever they want, with no rush, with no delay. And yeah, taking that in consideration, they're a startup, so they're doing fine, I think.
Yeah, and there aren't, you know,
makes sense.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. There aren't a whole lot of startup phone companies. You know, that you hear about hardware manufacturers.
Yeah,
there's none. Yeah. No startup has done this before.
Right.
They keep trying, and the black phone or the whatever they like to call it, there's no other startup that's done that like this. So let's give them a little credit.
And you have to definitely also give them credit for the fact that when they came out, you know, marketing has been a big part of what they're doing, and it's hard to compete in a landscape of Samsungs and Apples that have so more marketing money than God to throw at their devices. Yet they've been able to maximize what money they do have, and they said very early on the flagship killer, and that was a bold statement. Yet here we are a few months later, and a lot of people who have very strong opinions about devices are saying it's the phone for them. It's their phone. So largely, they've lived up to that declaration, which is kind of an impressive thing, don't you think, Gina?
No, yeah, it is. I mean, they've won over sort of the power users, right? And that's a fantastic place to be. And they've really had to balance. I mean, on one hand, I feel like they should be aiming all their resources toward getting their manufacturing chain together so that they can ship these phones, right? I mean, the company only does well, only brings in profit if it ships phones. And it seems like they've been doing a lot of marketing things, but they have to keep the buzz going, right? So like that's what the selfie contests are about, and the Smash Your Phone and the invite system, you know, at all. But, you know, I don't know. Part of me thinks they have Oppo behind them, at least as an investor, if not more. Maybe they could turn the switch and get some more support from Oppo to just build more phones faster. But I hear you, Frank. Franco's got a great point. This kind of thing is hard. They've got to balance both keeping the buzz and keeping the marketing and the desire there, but also, you know, making sure that they can build these phones as fast as they can sell them, which they obviously haven't been able to do so far. And you know, and I want them to do well. It's the phone. I love the phone, despite the marketing, you know, screw ups. I really love the phone. It's a great device, and I want more people to have it. And I also want fewer people to ask me for an invite. So,
well, I love
this is what I want.
I love how the pendulum swings. How, you know, a couple of weeks ago it's bad OnePlus One and doing the selfie contest and all that sort of stuff.
What's crazy about that though, right, is that the hardware is obviously good because people feel so passionate about some of their blunders, yet still it's really hard to maneuver away from it because it's kind of that good. Yeah. So, yeah.
So I think no one remembers the Nexus 4 thing, the fiasco, when Google opened up the pre-orders, and then like 2 months after, the phones were like out of stock.
Yeah.
They
That's right.
weren't actually shipping them. So, and they are Google, and they've done crap. And these guys are actually selling the phones through an invite system. So they are not having a pre-order system. People are not waiting. If they can buy it, if they have the invite, they will buy it. So, well, I think people should think about this stuff and don't bash it so easily.
Yes, agreed. And then I wake up and I realize I live on the internet and everybody bashes everything. Unfortunately, for better or for worse.
Don't read the comments.
Yeah, I know. Stay away from the comments.
Boils down to don't read those comments. Just keep on moving. Well, speaking of keeping on moving, I can't remember if we did this on the show or if we cut it from the rundown.
I was wondering if maybe when I was out.
I think it was when you were out because it seems very familiar.
Okay, then it's very possible.
But so just to kind of go to the Wayback Machine here, we go kind of back in time. That was a Wayne's World reference for those of you who were born after 1995. So last month, Android Police posted about Google Workshop, which is the speculation and rumor that Google was developing a way for people to customize cases and things like that. I'm almost 100% sure we talked about it when you were out. Yeah, that's what it was.
Yes, so. I meant to look it up, but I ran out of time.
We definitely did.
Yeah,
which was cool. I completely missed this.
Yeah, it was cool stuff. I mean, if we could see it, Brian, you could see that
interesting customization options.
Yeah, loading photos to cases for the Nexus 5 and coming with some pre-designed kind of designer looks for it and some customization. It looked to be really cool, and this kind of all seemed very fleshed out in terms of a rumor. In terms of this is very developed. Sure. But so now as we're a month later and as we're inching towards kind of announcement season and things like that, we've got some development somewhat in this direction with the leak that Google has special plans for the upcoming HTC Nexus tablet, which I believe the code name is, was it Voltaris or Valaris? Or
Valaris.
Valaris, yeah, that's what it is.
Flounder,
yeah, that's the other word. Yeah. So this includes would be a keyboard folio that turns the tablet into a laptop-style device, complete with magnet connectors for the case, similar to Apple's Smart Cover. The keyboard would pair via USB 4 and pair via NFC, and also includes a 450 milliamp battery to power the keyboard. So this is some more kind of concrete leak. We got some photos, we got some examples, but it looks like the upcoming tablet that's going to get rolled out will have some neat little accessories to go along with it if you believe this stuff.
Volantis. Thank you, Josh Gray. There we go. We were close.
What is Valaris? What is it?
Valaris.
Is it a car? I think it was a car.
It was close enough. Yeah. So USB pairing, NFC or USB 4 connectivity, pairing by NFC, and a 450 milliamp hour battery for the keyboard. Interesting. I mean, when you look at the pictures, you're kind of like, Apple Smart Cover all over the place.
Exactly, yeah, very smart cover. But the addition of the keyboard is that. But I'm wondering, does the keyboard fold? Like, where does? I mean, this photo shows the Smart Cover.
So it's almost like Microsoft's Surface.
Yeah.
If you've seen those covers,
Yeah.
If Alex were here, he'd run over right now with one and show it to us.
But yeah, so you see here that you see the I guess the folder, the flappy folder, and then I guess the tablet goes in the middle. And then there's the keyboard, so you can kind of prop it up via the Surface. Looks neat.
So ultimately, the takeaway being that Nexus supposedly getting a lot more customization options, a lot more accessories if Google follows through. Because we've had accessories in the past. Like I think there was a case or something for the Nexus 10 that was out there and it never arrived, and so I guess you never really know with the Nexus devices. But
and it's important to note that this is a leak and this is rumor, and until we see it in the Google Play Store or in the announcement, you don't believe it. But
exactly.
I'm not sure this is a leak, to be honest, because remember that they've rebranded their enterprise thingy to Google Work.
Oh, do you think this is part of that?
That happening and this keyboard thingy for the next device probably makes sense.
That does make sense. It's a good connection.
And it also, I mean, there's a lot of speculation that the tablets are going to be repurposed more towards productivity devices than media devices. And one of the speculation is around some of these designs. It looks kind of like a 4:3 aspect ratio, which
And remember that they've been working in their productivity apps like Slides and Word
Sheets.
and One.
Yeah.
So everything is making a little bit of sense, huh?
Starting to come together.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Now, Liam Spradlin, of course, at Android Police is commonly the name that you see with a lot of these leaks and everything. He's actually going to be a guest next week on the show. So we could talk to him about how he does it. How does he get these things? We could probably actually ask him about this, whether he's willing to tell or not, where, you know, where he finds some of this
I'll
stuff.
be very curious to hear that answer, although I could probably guess what it would be right now. So.
My sources are very important to me. Sorry. So there we go. And then I'm not going to spend a large amount of time on this because there's just so much. And to be quite honest, next week's show is going to be our hardware bonanza show. We're going to talk a lot about the actual devices that were announced and not rumors of the devices that we think are going to be announced. So just real quick here, this week is IFA in Berlin, and you know, we've got ASUS potentially showing off their Zen watch, Samsung showing off the Galaxy Note 4. That's actually tomorrow morning at, I think, 6 a.m. Pacific.
Yep.
We will have live coverage of that here at Twit, so tune into live.twit.tv tomorrow morning. That would be Wednesday, the 3rd of September at 6 a.m. Pacific to watch that. But the Galaxy Note 4 is expected there, you know, probably more. Sony has the Xperia Z3, Z3 Compact, the tablet, and 2 wearables expected for their announcement tomorrow. On the 4th, that's the day after tomorrow, it's HTC with their Desire 820. Huawei has the Ascend D3 with metal casing that's expected.
Not metal.
Motorola has a Chicago event. This is going to be a big one.
Yep.
It's not at IFA, but it's in Chicago, in a Chicago event where the Moto 360 is expected to get the official launch. We're also going to hear about probably the new Moto X and the new Moto G. We'll see.
Finally.
We'll see what happens there, how much of that we actually do hear about. LG, of course, has the G Watch R.
The Guatcher.
So, and we talked about that last week,
The
right?
Guatcher. No, I think we skipped it, actually. We cut it because we ran long.
No, well, there's no way we would have cut it. I think it came out the next day.
Did it come out the next day?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it came out. No, this came out the next day. Yes, we cut out another
All
thing.
right.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, we wouldn't have cut this. Yeah.
No
and
way.
No flat tire, right?
What's that?
No flat tire?
Yeah, exactly. It's truly round. It's even rounder than round.
The Guatcher.
Yeah.
Guatcher.
I don't know.
It does look very nice.
Franco, between the Moto 360. Okay, so this is a multiple choice question. Which of these would you rather have? Moto 360, the G Watch R, or none of the above? I don't.
The Motorola watch.
Yeah, Motorola over the LG. Why is that?
Because I like the design better. I think the design will be a major selling point between those two. At least I think it's sleeker than the LG. Maybe the charging induction thing that they've been talking about or leaked or whatever is probably my thing, because I'm seeing that LG is probably going to have a USB charger or whatever.
Oh,
Just my guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I would hope not.
Maybe for those reasons. And it looks more premium, Motorola one. So I'd rather have that one.
There we go. Yeah, I don't know. They both look pretty good. I think I agree, though, that the Moto 360 is probably my pick. What do you guys think?
I'm Moto 360.
Yeah.
I'm Moto 360. I mean, this looks
go.
cool. It looks nice. And LG's been all right. I know you had some problems with the Samsung charging, but I've had no problems with the Guatch charging with the little
That's because
tray
they
goes
did it
in.
better than Samsung.
They did it better than Samsung.
Definitely.
Yeah. So with the Guatcher, I don't understand why they wouldn't.
Guatcher.
I don't know. I'd like to see the Guatcher up.
Yeah.
We've seen more of the Moto 360. I haven't seen enough of the Guatcher.
Well, prepare to see more, because I think September 5th is the day for that. Also, the G3 stylus smartphones, G3 version of their G3 with a stylus, we should hear about. And then, of course, we have to mention Apple has an event on September 9th that, even though it's not Android, it certainly applies to much of what we talk about, right? Because that's kind of the big behemoth, and possibly if there's some sort of a wearable from Apple, one of the big players in making wearables mainstream, whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
There you go. And then, sorry.
No, I also was going to say, I said no doubt, you're right about that. But I also wanted to plug tomorrow, I'm actually going to be helping with Leo's live coverage of the Samsung event. It'll be Elgin, Leo, Mike Elgin, Leo, and myself. And it's going to be really early at like 9 a.m. Eastern time, but it'll be here on Twit.
That's not early. You know what's early? 6 a.m. Pacific.
6 a.m. Pacific time is early. It's true. I'll be getting to work my regular time. Leo will not. Let's just say that.
Oh, yeah. But it's no New Year's Eve. I'll give him that. That's like 26 solid hours of programming, by the way, that we're looking at. And then finally, Google. This isn't next week, or this isn't this week, but September 15th is an announcement that Google has set. And that's likely for the Android One in India. That's 12 noon on September 15th. So that's I suppose that's still kind of a couple of weeks away, right? Yeah. So there we go. Upcoming announcements, lots of hardware. Next week we'll talk, I'm sure, all
next week's
about
gonna
it.
be brutal. It's gonna be great.
I'm gonna have to start taking notes tomorrow just to save myself from next week. But there you have it. So speaking of Wear, Gina, what's new in Wear?
Yeah, we got a little Wear news. So CNET interviewed David Singleton, Google's engineering director for Wear, and he said updates would come rapidly and direct from Google for Wear, with the first update hitting this week. So we can look forward to Bluetooth headset pairing that could allow a runner to stream music direct from the watch's local storage. This is offline music direct from the watch to a headset without the need for a phone. So you don't have to run with your phone. And GPS support for watches that have GPS, of course, making fitness tracking easier and phoneless while you're on your run anyway. Also, official watch face support will be available for developers, and ultimately OEMs will not be able to modify the code of Wear the way they can with Android for phones, tablets, which is very interesting to me. Very interesting. So yeah, it sounds like Wear this fall is going to be all about Wear. Lots of new models, hardware-wise, and it sounds like the software is going to see some major updates.
I wonder how the local storage music would work. Like, so Bluetooth headphones, or where you can plug in your
Bluetooth,
where do you plug your headphones in? Yeah,
Bluetooth headset. Bluetooth headset.
Yeah.
But how much local storage is and how do you sync your music to it? And with the GPS support, I guess, for it to work offline, if I want to go for my run with just my watch and be able to listen to music, that's pretty cool. No more of those like big plastic armbands or whatever people do who actually do exercise.
Or just put it in my pocket.
Or put it in your pocket. Yeah, I guess you could do that. Yeah. But then I guess your GPS data would get stored offline, and then it would sync up when you got back.
Right.
Anyway, I like it.
It's definitely interesting. I mean, it's.
Sorry.
Oh no, after you, Franco.
You do realize that the battery life on your watch will be so small, and that you'll listen to music like for 2 hours, and then you try to use your GPS, or just someone walks to you and asks you the time, and you try to watch the time, and oops, no battery.
But I really hope you enjoyed that Metallica album. Yeah.
Yes, that's.
I hope Metallica was worth it. You don't get to know what time it is.
I've been very impressed with the battery life on the watch.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been, now that I'm a couple of weeks into it, I mean, really the only time I've seen a super big drain is when I've left it connected to the phone via Bluetooth, and then I went to the other room and I separated them, and then the battery goes like that because it's constantly trying to find the signal. But if I remember to disconnect the watch from the phone and then not put it on the charger, I barely lose a couple of percent overnight. Like it not even that.
So what's your average battery life?
That's a good question. I've been putting it on the charger after 2 days of full use. So it seems that I've been able to get 2 days of full use before it gets down under 25%, and then I put it on the charger.
I don't know. Something's wrong with the Android Wear or the devices that have been shipped, because I have a Pebble. And I also have a Sony smartwatch too, and the battery life on each lasts me more than a week.
Wow!
For each charge. So I don't know. Either these devices are the ones that I have don't use any battery, or Android Wear is not finished, or I don't know. Something smells fishy, because I don't like the idea of being like charging my watch every 2 days or 1 day. Doesn't seem right to me.
See, and I don't mind the thought of charging my watch daily because it's just kind of part of my ritual, my routine to charge things at the end of the night, and I don't wear my watch to bed. when I'm wearing one, when it isn't broken like my Samsung Gear Live is. But that doesn't mean what I want is 1 day's worth of battery. I want 2 days worth of battery. Yep. Because then I know for a fact it's always going to make it through the day, and then I'll have plenty left over to charge at the end of the night. I just don't want to, I never want to make it to the end of the day and be like, oh, that conked out 3 hours ago, and now I have to just be without it, if that's my choice. But
yeah,
I don't know. Well, there we go. Okay, lots to look forward to, including Android Wear, of course, this next week. So we will find out more. Let's thank our sponsor, another sponsor of today's episode. That is SmartThings, the easiest way to control and automate your home with your smartphone. We actually have a hub here. Vanna Richards, my assistant here, is going to show off the hub while I talk about SmartThings. SmartThings is super powerful. You can secure your home for a fraction of the cost of a traditional home security system. You can stay connected to your family by getting notifications when people come and go, control and automate your lights and small appliances from wherever you happen to be. You can also be notified if there's unexpected entry or movement in your home. You can get instant alerts to prevent a small leak from causing a major flood. If you have all the pieces that connect into the hub is, of course, the central unit that connects all of those pieces throughout your home. So it manages all of this for you. Getting started with SmartThings is easy. SmartThings offers 3 smart home security kits, which are designed to help you protect and monitor your home. SmartThings also introduced 4 brand new solution kits, which help you achieve specific goals. Things like automating lights, saving energy, protecting your home from leaks. Like I said, there's even a maker kit to connect and integrate your Arduino projects, so you can get super geeky and make your own things using Arduino kits. Each kit includes a SmartThings hub with everything you'll need to turn your home into a smart home in as little as 15 minutes, including new and improved updates of SmartThings Zigbee sensors. And in addition to SmartThings' own sensors and outlets, you can actually also add hundreds of other home automation devices from popular companies, including GE, Schlage, Honeywell, Eon, Nest Thermostat, Dropcam, Philips Hue, Wemo, Sonos, the list goes on. But the really powerful thing about SmartThings is that it's open platform, which means it's compatible with hundreds of devices, and there are thousands of things that you can do with the product. To discover them, simply download the free SmartThings iOS or Android app. That's one app that kind of gives you all the possibilities that you have with SmartThings. So to get started creating your smart home, visit smartthings.com/twit, and you can save 10% off your purchase price of any home security or solution kit by entering the code TWIT10 at checkout. When you use TWIT10, solution kits start as low as $170, and home security kits start at $350. You'll also get free shipping within the U.S. That's smartthings.com/twit. Remember to enter the code TWIT10 at checkout. And we thank SmartThings for their continued support of All About Android. All right, let's head on over to the apps side of town.
Oh, in the apps district.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good neighborhood. It's my favorite neighborhood.
Yeah, it's a pretty great neighborhood. There's always new things.
Whoa!
Yet again, trying to move us along, Brian. I understand.
Come on, guys. Let's speed it up.
The subtle hint. Well, Reddit's getting more and more popular every day, and one of the reasons is not leaked photos, but the AMAs that are happening there. It seems like a hourly occurrence.
Yeah,
someone of interest is doing.
Remember when
AMA.
they were like this thing that every once in a while you'd hear about? Now it's like every minute.
Yeah, exactly.
So
But you can find out about OnePlus One that might be rolling out a pre-order thing. You find other interesting stuff. Well, let's be honest, they're not that easy to read, are they? So there's a lot of questions, hard to find the answers. Well, the new Reddit official AMA app rolled out, and it finally gives you a very good way. In fact, some say the best way to read, to kind of absorb those AMAs. And it's available now. You can download it. You can check it out, and you can
on iOS. You can download it
on
now.
iOS. Yeah, exactly.
On Android later this week.
Right. Yeah.
I figured you would love this.
I know. I was glossing over it because I don't know why. Do the simultaneous release.
I imagine that was probably their plan. That's my guess.
Yeah,
because it's later this week. Like, don't you think all along wasn't their plan all along to be like, we're going to release on iOS and then later in the week release Android?
No, I know exactly. I know, but I don't know exactly why. I can speculate why, because I bet you they've worked with Apple and they have a lot of promotion planned or whatever, and Apple turns their store on Monday nights to Tuesdays. So the iTunes store, the App Store, and stuff like that, all the promotional spots, all refresh on the overnight between Monday and Tuesday. So if you want to get any sort of attention from Apple from a promotion standpoint, you need to be live by Tuesday, or else the banner won't go live. You know. So that said,
so they wanted to hit that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but that said, why delay the Android? Who knows? Development is hard.
It's still in beta.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
Development's hard. I guess we don't know that.
But it's coming. Hey, at least it's not like Coin. All right, don't get me started on Coin.
Did you back Coin?
Oh, I backed Coin. I backed Coin. Don't. Are we getting this, Gina?
Did you do your Pop 3 mail server? Did you back Coin?
Wow.
Sorry,
Wow.
Sorry, I couldn't resist, Ron. I'm really sorry about that Coin. I kind of do want to get you started on Coin, but we are behind time.
Yes,
so
we are.
I won't do that.
We'll have to save that. If you're done trolling, Gina, we can move on.
That was good, Gina. More of that.
Listen, it looked like a really cool product. This is why I don't do crowdfunding.
I'm sure that someday it will be really cool, Ron.
Someday.
When they ship.
Oh.
Sorry.
But this actually does tie into what we were talking about earlier with OnePlus One. Hardware is hard.
Hardware is hard.
Hard's in the title.
Yep.
Hardware is hard. It's in the word.
There it is.
It is, and like clearly, I'm going to be struck down by the like engineering scheduling gods now that I've made fun of another engineering team that hasn't shipped on time because
there you go.
Know, glass houses, right?
You're flying a little too close to the sun there, Trapani.
I am. You're right. I'll shut up now.
Wow.
There we go. I love it though. That was great. Thank you. More of that. And then love it or hate it, Facebook just became the first non-Google app to pass 1 billion installs in the Play Store. Their competition, well, not the competition. Their friends up in the 1 billion land, Play Services, Maps, Gmail, and YouTube. So they've got some pretty highfalutin friends.
Yeah,
I gotta say.
Just
so
shows
the only non-Google app.
Yeah.
Shows you Facebook's reach. Say what you will about them. That's a lot.
Kind of a big deal.
It's a lot of
and
installs.
With all the permissions it requires, they probably has as much data about you as Google does, just via that app.
Well, and not to mention, yes, thank you very much for the obligatory Dr. Evil.
Thank you, Dr. Evil.
So Play Services, Maps, Gmail, YouTube comes pre-installed on any official Android device.
So who's downloading the
Google.
YouTube? Yeah.
So Facebook passing 1 billion on its own, not being pre-installed, although it is pre-installed on some, but
it's a big achievement.
Yeah,
good for them. Especially considering how poor the app has been up to this point.
I was going to say, Facebook has come a long ways.
Yeah.
And the design of the app now, I don't dread using it anymore. Whether I dread using Facebook as a service or not, that's a different story maybe for another time. But the app itself, I feel, has come a long way. Have you had much interaction with the Facebook app on Android over the years, Franco? What do you think about that?
Yeah, the app was horrible when it launched. But now it's getting around and the ratings are going up as well. So they're doing something correctly. The app is more responsive now. It's a shame that it doesn't follow the guidelines most of the time. But, oh well, could be worse. I'm not sure they have a tablet layout by now. Last time I checked, they didn't. So that's a minus for them.
That is.
I think they did a good job when going from the HTML5 version to the native app version. They got a nice speed boost. And it's probably easier to maintain than having a project HTML5 for both platforms. So now they have a dedicated team for Android and another team for iOS. Probably the best this way. I don't use it because I think it uses too much battery on the background. So I just use the mobile version of the website and it works whatever I want. So I find it surprising that it's been downloaded 1 billion times. because the app is not so good. I think to be worth 1 billion downloads, well, Facebook is popular, so maybe not so much surprising. Well, I think that's my opinion.
Good enough. I think you wrapped it up perfectly. I mean, that's a testament. What you said there at the end is a testament to the power of Facebook in today's kind of internet experience. Is that even with a bad app, it still reached a billion downloads, a billion installs, and that's just because people can't be without Facebook.
Yeah, it's a utility. I mean, the other thing is that Facebook doesn't make it easy to use just the website. I tried to avoid installing the app, but if you try to log on to the website just through the browser, if it doesn't recognize your device, there's basically no way to authenticate yourself unless you can get to a computer where you can log into Facebook there and say, yes, this device is okay, or the other option is you download the app. And then it sends you the SMS and does that whole dance. And there have been a couple of times because I was just lazy. I was like, oh, let me just install the app so I can get on. And I was like, no, I'm not going to do it. But they really do push users toward the app. But it's such a utility at this point. Like it's like SMS. People just expect to be able to do it. So good for them, I guess.
They also have a bunch of shady permissions on the app. So they're probably collecting a lot of data, like Ron said. So that's also not something that I like, and most of the users should be alarmed by sharing all those permissions, because Android permissions are pretty strong and they are easy to go around and nobody actually reads them. So I think that's a problem, and it's from Google's side, and well, Facebook just using it for their own power.
Of course, that's why Facebook is as strong as they are, as strong as ever.
1 billion downloads and counting. Yeah.
You don't get to 1 billion downloads without something.
Lots of users and lots of. But I don't know. It's like the whole. I still have yet to download the Messenger app. You know, because partially because I just hate that. I mean, I do use Facebook. I'm on Facebook. Yeah. But I just hate the messaging aspect. I just want an auto reply that says email me. Like I don't want to do this here. But But I mean, I don't know. I mean, the thing is that like, yes, it takes a lot of data, but like my data is not that interesting. And like, and if it if it helps to fund and then get better, functionality and all that stuff. I mean, it's kind of like, what is the glass is half empty or half full? And could it be some sort of data breach or some sort of big issue that happens when all the data gets out? I don't know. But again, my data isn't that interesting. So it's personally, that's where I'm at.
Cool. And finally, talking about just kind of interesting bedfellows. Earlier we were talking about Microsoft and Cyanogen Mod, and now we have Nokia and Samsung, Gina?
Yeah, Nokia and Samsung are apparently getting cozy with an Android version of Nokia's Here mapping service headed to the Galaxy line of devices exclusively to start. The broader device rollout is expected sometime later this year. Users will have access to 200+ country maps, turn-by-turn business search, turn-by-turn directions, business search, and offline support. Nokia's Here maps. Have you guys tried Here maps? I actually haven't.
I have not.
Why should we try it?
Franco, I love having Franco on the show. He's awesome. He's just I love it. I love it.
Cut to the chase.
It's a good question. It's an excellent question. Why?
It's true.
I mean, so Nokia's basically said eventually, like initially it sounded like Nokia was sparking up this kind of exclusive deal with Samsung. But later they kind of came out and said, no, the plan is to kind of broaden it to all of Android eventually. But early on, it was kind of, I was trying to figure out, like, is this yet another step for Samsung of replacing Google services with something else? Do you think that's what we're looking at here, Franco? Or do you think it's just Nokia is just like, hey, we have a lot to benefit from more users of our map service, and that's what we're doing?
But what does Nokia wins from users using their service? I don't know. I have no idea. Mm-hmm. What do they want to have other people using their services? Why? We have Google Maps, so I don't know. I don't see any reasoning.
But Google Maps doesn't benefit Nokia, of course. Then they have the Here map, so they want more people to use it. So I guess this would be good from their perspective, but would Android users flock to it?
I'm not so sure. So. If Samsung pre-installs the app, they will obviously use the app because it's pre-installed. But I'm not sure we're going to see a lot of users stop using Google Maps to use Here Maps.
Yeah.
So just another thing, just bye-bye.
Well, it's, but I mean, I guess, and again, I feel like I'm playing devil's advocate a lot this episode because I'm with you, Franco. I agree that there's no Google Maps gets everything I need done, but I guess there's a world where people want options and want choice, and as much as people are anti-Facebook for gathering all that data, some people don't like Google having the data it has. Yeah. And so maybe, they're saying, okay, well, if you don't want Google Maps and you don't want Google to know where you're going and all that sort of stuff, here's a alternative. Here's Here Maps, and I haven't played with it, so I don't know if it possibly is superior or not. But I don't see. I mean, Google Maps is getting everything done that I need to get it done.
Well, and not to mention, taking Samsung for example. Let's say Samsung and Nokia do make this deal, or do kind of bring Nokia to the Samsung devices. As we're reading here, I mean, Google Maps isn't going anywhere on the device. Samsung can't replace Maps with Here
unless
what
Samsung adapts Cyanogen mod. And you've got Cyanogen running on Samsung with Here Maps,
dun, dun, dun.
with a Bing search engine and Yahoo Mail.
I think you just figured it out. You're like, I forfeit the arena. Peace out.
It is the Voltron of Android options that have nothing to do with Google.
That's true.
Think about
it. There we go. I mean, that would have to be the case.
I just linked.
Yes, you
our
just
first
linked
story with our last story. There you go.
That's it. We can wrap the show. We're good.
It's like a sandwich. You just put bread on both sides.
The Voltron of Android that no one wants.
See about
it's like
that.
the vehicle Voltron, not the Lion. The Lions were cool, but the one that was all the vehicles, that was the one that was lame. All right, there's like 5 people laughing in the audience. So there you go.
There we go. Yes. Only time will tell if Ron just figured it all out. Yep. And if you did, you're like the smartest guy in the room.
We'll see. Now. Samsung, call me.
All right. What do you say? You want to get in the arena a little bit?
I know Bryan does.
Maybe bring it. Yeah.
So many
Now don't start playing the exit music right after this.
Android Arena.
All right.
All right. I was hoping to hear the exit music.
Oh. No.
Not yet.
It takes a while to get there.
Yes.
Let's see here. Last week's poll, we had a few awesome apps, and Ron
came back strong.
Jeez. Seriously, people.
You're like, you're unstoppable this year.
Don't let this happen.
This is my year.
Ron wins with Unclouded. There we go.
At least I was within spitting distance this time.
Yep.
You were Pac-Man Friends second at 33%. So Unclouded wins with 44%. Pac-Man Friends at 33%. Runkeeper third place at 13%. And wow,
Fragment.
I'm in the end there. Fragment at 10%.
Yep. So I've got 13 wins on the year. Gina and Jason have 8, and our guests have 5. So there you go. That's the team guest.
We can't let him lap us. He can't reach 16.
Like I told, I'm just waiting until I'm just counting the weeks until it gets to the point where I've got it where I clinch it. Like I've got to figure out what my magic number is. Once I get my magic number, then I can start going crazy just to ensure that I win the year. It's still, if this is November or if this is the end of November, I'd be set. But right now, I need a little more space. So now I got 5 weeks on you guys.
Francisco, you were involved in some way with Unclouded, right? Were you an advisor, or how are you involved with the Unclouded app?
I have no involvement code-wise, but I'm big friends with the developer. We actually live next to each other in real life. So I've seen all the phases of the development of that app. So yeah, I've been like giving him ideas or just telling him, no, don't do that, or yes, go ahead. Or we are together like every other day. So you can imagine our discussions about my apps or his apps. So yeah, it's been a very interesting project. It was covered by a lot of big news websites like TechCrunch and CNET and Lifehacker. So for me, because I'm his friend, I'm very happy that it's taking off, and app is awesome. If anybody's watching the show, just buy the app right now.
It's a good app.
I think they may have already because it won.
It's a good app. Tell your friend he did a good job. I like it.
I think he's watching, so yeah. So
all right,
there we go. You know, you can on the list of like accomplishments with the app, you can put above featured in TechCrunch. You can put one in the arena.
Yeah, won the All About Android arena. That's a huge accomplishment. There you go.
Yeah. Nothing. Yeah, there we go. So we have 4 new apps to feature this week. Mine is pretty straightforward, pretty easy. It is called Snapshot, and I'm going to set up the stage for you. You have your phone in your hand, and I don't know, maybe your kid or some random occurrence happens in front of you, and you want to take a picture of it.
Sure.
Your quickest way to do that is to pick up your phone, unlock it, swipe to the camera, wait for it to go, and then set it up. If that's just not fast enough for you, if you want like 1 point to your camera, that's what Snapshot is about. Once you set it up, and I'll show you right now, basically what it does is it detects when your phone is in landscape when you turn the screen on, and it goes right to your camera, so you don't have to. It should have, but I'm on the Xiaomi Mi 4, and it does things a little different. So maybe I should have tested this better before the show. See how app is enabled? It worked for me before the show, dang it. Well, it's not working now. Let's just say that it worked when I wasn't showing it off on a show with lots of people watching.
I think it happened so fast, Jason, we just missed it.
Okay, so now it's running. It says Mi 4. There. Okay. So now will it do it? No. Never mind. My app's called Snapshot. It's really good. You should get it. Nothing. It worked. I swear it worked. In a perfect world, it would work if your phone was in landscape.
Isn't there
and then it would just go right to the camera. But
is there video in the Play Store? Can we show a video? So it's okay, Jason.
Just go. It's called Snapshot. It's free. Who's next?
I'll go next.
Who's next?
There you go.
Next, Ron.
So, if you're,
I'm gonna install it on another phone now.
It's very hard to follow this, by the way. It's very, very hard. So quite often, you might find yourself. Personally, I've been looking for a very lightweight code editor that I could utilize on my phone to quickly edit, whether it's HTML or JavaScript or whatever it is. Those of you that are like me that kind of have either work very deeply in IT or development or very lightly, no matter what, at some point having to edit a file on the road just stinks and you need the right tool. And for a while I've been looking for a good HTML editor that I can utilize on my phone, and I think I have found it with Turbo Editor. And Turbo Editor is a lightweight, very simple editor. I'll pull it up here and I'll show you guys. You can see it, but there you go. We'll just move that out of the way. So when you launch it, really simple. There's a whole bunch of new stuff that came in with the new but really simple. You can open a file that you can either, you can say, if you can save files locally to your phone, you get full access to the whole kind of explorer of your file system. I'm going to go in and I'm going to pull out an HTML file here, and real great, kind of clean view of the file itself. You're able to customize the way that it actually looks. So you go to preferences. You can turn on and off line numbers. You can turn on and off the syntax highlight. You can turn on content wrapping. You can turn on monospace. You can change the theme from a light to a dark. I'll change it to a light theme. You can add, which I think is great. You can they have keyboard suggestions, which you can turn on or off, and I choose to turn them off. You can adjust the font size if you need to, if you can't see as well and you need or bigger text or smaller text. But once you do that, it makes it real simple to just kind of go in and make changes really easily. Once you make a change, you can simply save it or you can undo that change. And if you're doing real lightweight kind of editing on the road, it doesn't get much easier than this. So Turbo Editor, it's free in the Google Play Store. Very simple at what it does, and it does it well. It's my favorite kind of app. So yeah. So if you need to edit HTML on the road, there's also a tablet version which I have here on my Nexus 7, but I actually don't have any files on me, so it was pointless. So we can see it here in the Google Play Store. But yeah, so it's done utilizing a good design. So it's not necessarily a tablet version, but it goes wide for that landscape mode very cleanly and allows you to edit stuff easily on the road. So whether on the road or at the coffee shop or whatever, where you might need to be. So turbo editor, text editor, free in the Google Play Store. It's solving a problem for me, and it might solve your problem too. See, very simple.
Yeah, very simple. Kind of like my app. But although AEIOU points out in the chat room, I was covering the camera.
Oh, you think that's what it was?
So check this out. I'm not covering the camera. Go. Sideways. There it goes.
It did it. Yay.
It did it. Yay. It didn't fail. See? I'm cool, right? Right, guys? I'm cool.
Totally worked.
Totally worth it, too. See? Redemption is still painful, but there you go. Sorry to tag on at the end, but
no, it's good. I'm glad. I would have done it.
Yeah, see? There you go. Thank you, AIOU, in the chat room for pointing out that feature. Don't cover the camera when you do it. Okay, so up next we have Franco. I promise not to do to your app demonstration what I did to my own, but I have it installed on my phone. So go ahead and talk about what you got.
Okay. So basically my app just serves as a fancy interface to actually manage all the kernel parameters that either I've added or are already there. Apart from that, the main objective of the app is simply to make give users a simple and pain-free way to be up to date to my kernel updates. It's just a simple one click, and auto flashes the kernel and reboots the device. So the user doesn't have to type any command or ADB or whatever. It has a bunch of different functionalities, like it has a system monitor built in. That app is made by Christian, the unclouded developer. So he built me a free part of his app to bundle it with my app. So props to him. It also has a fancy per app modes part, which actually lets each user to make power states or power profiles to each app. So for example, if you want to play a game, you can simply tune the CPU frequency or the governor for maximum performance. And while you're on that app, my app will change to that specific profile. If you want just to read a book, you can just make a simple profile to lower the CPU frequency, for example, for Google Play Books. And all the options are almost limitless. So it's a very powerful tool. And aside from that, I have lots of different custom tools, and like a color control for Nexus 5, Nexus 4, Nexus 7, OnePlus One. I don't even know what I have there anymore.
So much in it. Now this is the Franco kernel. Of course, I'm showing it off on my Nexus 5, which is not currently rooted. So that's why you're seeing a lot of this kind of darkened. So I'm showing the app interface, but I'm not running it right now because I don't have the Franco kernel installed on my device.
Yeah, and that app, that version that you have, it's not up to date for Android L's team. So you're running Android L, I think.
I am, yes.
Yeah. So yeah, the theme is a little bit off because of that. That's why all the letters are in gray.
Gotcha.
But even the video that is showing right now, the app is already outdated on the video. But mostly it's the same thing. So, but yeah, I guess I explained everything. So if you're using my kernel or on any of your devices and you feel like supporting me and help, because this is what I do. I don't have any real job. This is my job. So if you want to support me or just have a fancy app following the guidelines and with lots of different options, because it's fun, think with your phone, you can buy it from the Play Store, and I'll be very happy. And I guess, and I can give you support if you want. So I'm always online support anyone. So I guess that's it.
You're very reachable, and people. You can find Franco on XDA as well. Super kind of engaged with the XDA community and also on Google+. So yeah, I mean, as far as for people rooting and ROMing devices, you have undoubtedly heard about the Franco kernel, and this is just a great kind of front end style control for it. Kind of makes it really easy to make tweaks, on the fly and everything. So definitely check it out. That is called the Franco kernel, and the Play Store looks like it's well, here in the US anyways, it's $5.46. So there we go.
Well, the price might look a little bit steep, but considering that it's only a one-time purchase, and I'll be updating it forever, and it's like a Starbucks coffee, and it's my job, so I guess it speaks for itself. And the app is so powerful if you actually use it to its full extent that it's almost nothing.
Yeah.
So check it out.
Check it out. It's called the Franco kernel. All right, and finally, Gina, bring it. I'll show your app off.
My app pick this week is called Bring Shopping List, and I say Bring Shopping List because there's an exclamation point, Yahoo style, after the Bring. Bring Shopping List. So this is exactly what it sounds like it is. It's a shopping list for groceries and household items, but I really, really like it for a few different reasons. First reason is it's free to download and install and free sharing of lists. So if you're like me, you have a spouse who says to you, hey, I'm going to the grocery store tomorrow. Is there anything that you need? And you're just like, I don't know, you're doing something else, you're not thinking. And of course, you think of the thing that you really needed at the store, while they're there, after they get back. Well, Bring It seeks to solve this problem, okay? You install the app, it's a free app, you add the person that you want to share your list with, if you want to share with anyone, and you add your items to the list. It's a very, very visual app, as you can see here in Jason's awesome demo. It comes with 350 preset hand-drawn items. You kind of standard milk, cheese, eggs, apples, that kind of thing, grocery items. Of course, you can add your own items. You can set quantities and notes about what it is that you want. Like I said, you can share your shopping list with any number of participants, and it's cross-platform too. So if your spouse is on iOS and you're on Android, these push notifications work cross-platform. And you can send push notifications regarding your shopping trip. So you can send a push that says, hey, I'm going shopping, last chance to add anything to the list. And you both can add and edit items together. And it syncs live when it's connected to the internet. It works offline as well if you don't have great internet connection at your local grocery store. And it's got Android Wear support, which is also really, really nice. As you purchase items, if you need an item, you tap on it and it gets added to your list. It turns from green to red and it gets added to your list. And when you purchase the item, you tap it again and it's gone. It goes back to green, so you know you bought it. And it kind of does that cute little transition. So it makes it kind of fun to go shopping, fun to add things and take them off.
I'm shopping.
Yeah,
hey,
go shopping.
I got all my items.
Go shopping. Yeah, there you go. Exactly. There's in-app purchase. I haven't quite in my admittedly short amount of testing. I've only been testing this for a couple of days now. I haven't run into the in-app purchase. It's not clear to me what exactly you need to purchase. I've been able to share with one other person and add unlimited items, but it is free to download. And like I said, the Wear support puts what you need right on your wrist. And I think this is fairly new. I think this just got released in the last week or so, and requires Android 4.03 and up. That's it. Bring Shopping List.
It's cute. Yeah, I like the
right?
visual
the illustrations.
approach.
Yeah, the illustrations are nice. Yeah.
Yeah, because shopping lists on your phone is always like one of those things that seems like a no-brainer, and I've done it with check off lists like an Evernote and everything. And it's like, oh, this makes perfect sense. Why write it down on paper when I can put it in here? And it just always ends up being kind of more of a pain,
a mess, or
because you're typing it all in and then you're scanning through. But actually, the visual representation of it makes it a little bit easier. So
and the Wear support is always fun.
Wear support is nice, and of course, I mean, the bad thing about having preset items is that you're like, oh yeah, I do want donuts and ice cream and crepes and dumplings. Like you are sort of tempted to add. I mean, I was testing this with my wife, and she was like, yes, cookies and cake and whatever. But it's way better than typing in and sharing lists is always gone a little bit hard. Most shared list things are like to task management apps and not shopping list management. So I really like the way the design on Bring and how it sort of makes adding things. And once you add your own items, you can re-add them. So if you buy the same kind of things, even if they're not in the preset items, you can re-buy them. So yeah, I really dig it. And it's just a really nicely designed app. You can tell it's been around. It's on both platforms, and it's just fun to use. So
nice. And that's Bring with an exclamation point. So you're meant to yell it when you say that. Bring. Shopping list. All right, so this week's arena is done here. Now it's up to you to vote and tell us which is your favorite snapshot. Is it Snapshot? Is it Turbo Editor, Franco Kernel, or Bring Shopping List? Go to AAApoll.com/177 and place your vote. And you got to be kidding me. For your favorite app. Apparently Snapshot right off the top. Snapshot, but it's a close race. There haven't been many votes.
I think Snapshot's going to do it.
Really?
Yeah, it's a good app, even though despite the demo.
Hey, apparently I didn't know about this covering the camera thing.
It's a nice feature, actually.
Because then,
there you go.
What? Was that the phone?
Yes.
Whoops.
Did I mention that the case is really slippery? It is.
The phone's somewhere over there now, people. So there you go.
Thankfully, it landed on the carpet. It just hit the TV that Franco is on, and I'm sorry that bumped into you, Franco. I apologize.
That's okay. Don't worry.
Francisco Franco, such a pleasure having you on the show. Really appreciate you coming back for the second time in a couple of weeks. You were on Android App Arena a few weeks ago, and now we have you here. So we'll give you a break for a little while so you can, experience life and develop more awesome things. But thank you for joining us. This is kind of your opportunity to tell people where they can find your work, what you got working on, anything you want people to know.
I guess I've covered everything, but if you want to follow me, my Google Plus is probably the best place because I'm always sharing stuff there.
Excellent.
So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Thank you very much for inviting me back.
Yeah.
Always a pleasure to talk about Android.
Absolutely. Francisco Franco 1990 on Google Plus. That's how you can find Franco there. Yeah. Thank you again. We'll have you back soon.
Thank you.
You bet. Gina, let's go with you. What you got working on? Let me guess. It has something to do with thinking and the direction of
up. It's a direction
of some sort.
Yes, of course. I working on thinkup.com. That's my company and our first product. And we're just adding new insights every day. It's social media analytics for regular people, not CMOs who have to make TPS reports, but regular humans. That's thinkup.com. I hope you check it out. It's a free trial, 14-day free trial. You can sign up with your Twitter or Facebook account right now. When I'm not working on ThinkUp and I'm not doing All About Android, I co-host This Week in Google here on the Twit Network, and that airs on Wednesdays at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. And tomorrow morning, like I said, I'll be live covering the Samsung event at 9 a.m. Eastern, 6 a.m. Pacific. So it'll be 3 shows in the course of 24 hours. So I'm doing the Twit marathon today and tomorrow.
No kidding.
So I hope you come check it out.
Excellent. Be there, 6 a.m. Pacific tomorrow. I will still be sleeping. Maybe.
You should. I'll fill you in. We'll fill you in when you wake up.
It's very possible that my youngest daughter might wake up by that point, but she's thankfully over that at this point. A little bit more. Will you be sleeping, Ron, or will you still be awake?
I'll be up and I'll be at the gym, probably watching the
too productive.
the coverage while I'm at the gym. So there you go. That's what I'm gonna do. Yes, because I'll be at the gym early in the morning because I'm just so busy all the time. If you go to about.me/RonXO, you can follow my adventures on Google Plus and on Twitter, Instagram, all that fun stuff. And you can see my ThinkUp at ronxo.thinkup.com. And by day, I am over at Image Comics, where you can find at imagecomics.com, helping make some of the best comic books in the universe for you to enjoy. And they're all available digitally, so you can check all of those out. They're in the Google Play Store, as well as on Comixology and on imagecomics.com.
Woot!
Yep.
Good work, sir.
Fun times.
Bryan, we appreciate your efforts to move the show along.
Yeah, I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to introduce myself. We need to just end this show.
But
Wow.
you do a show with that guy that appears over your shoulder, right?
guy?
Yeah.
Who
I
is
think.
that?
Don't squish his head.
Yeah, no, I'm just kidding. Good show, guys.
Even when you're kidding, you sound a little down.
It's been a long day.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
Not looking forward to getting up at 6 tomorrow.
Okay. Oh, there is that.
Oh.
Yes. I apologize.
Kidding. But you can find me on Thursdays doing know-how with that guy behind me who's wearing a fedora. I'm not even sure what we're doing this week, Padre. We'll probably blow something up. Usually when we can't think of something, we blow it up. But we'll also be doing Linux tips, maybe some RC car stuff. So check out know-how later. Back to you, Jason.
I was just looking at raygun01.thinkup.com, and I used the word ICYMI once since May 2014, which apparently it caught on because of that, because it's just been added to the Oxford English Dictionary because I used it that one time.
There you go.
You're a trendsetter.
You know
You're
it.
a trendsetter.
There we go. ThinkUp really is awesome.
ThinkUp is awesome. Love it.
Thank you.
You can find me at about.me/Jason Howell. Follow my music at yellowgoldmusic.com. I have another show, of course, Android App Arena, which can be found at twit.tv/arena with lots of apps every week. More apps. So if you don't get enough in this arena, check out that arena. It's like twice as many apps every single week.
Double the arena.
It's a lot of apps to go through. But that is it for this week. Thanks so much for joining us. You can leave us a voicemail by dialing on your telephone 347-SHOW-AAA. You can send us an email at AAA@twit.tv or a video mail. Just put the link to the video in there. Find the show on Twitter. We are at Android Show. We're on Google+. Just search for All About Android there. We have a great community. We also have a subreddit. It's twitaaa.reddit.com. I definitely look at that to kind of generate story ideas for the show. And show notes and past episodes can be found at twit.tv/AAA, as well as iTunes and YouTube. And catch us live every Tuesday, 5 p.m. Pacific, live.twit.tv. That's it for this week. We'll see you next week on another episode of All About Android.